Something you long believed to be true but realized wasn't.
Well, as one of the main opponents of the Illuminati, I always wanted to know what information they had that we did.
The sudden passing of Malcolm Jamal Warner left a heavy cloud over the entertainment world. A man known for his talent, his depth, and his long-standing career was suddenly gone without much noise or attention. People were heartbroken, confused, and asking the same question. How could this happen? But the even bigger question was, why did so many in the industry stay silent? Why did his death feel like it was being swept under the rug? Katt Williams, who has never been afraid to speak uncomfortable truths, is now speaking up. And what he's saying has sparked serious discussion. According to Katt, what happened to Malcolm wasn't just sad, it was suspicious. This wasn't a natural situation, and the silence that followed wasn't ordinary. It raised flags, suggested that something was being hidden. When Katt connects the dots, people are starting to listen closely. Katt didn't just throw accusations in the air. He spoke with detail, with precision, and with a tone that felt like confirmation more than speculation. He made it clear that there are people in the industry who didn't want Malcolm to be heard anymore, not because he did anything wrong, but because he didn't play along, he didn't follow the unspoken rules. And when you step outside those boundaries, you become a problem for powerful people. Malcolm Jamal Warner was not someone who craved controversy. He kept a low profile and focused on his work. But that's exactly what made his death feel so off. There were no scandals, no health warnings, no major warnings, just silence, and then he was gone. That's what made Katt's words hit harder. He wasn't speaking for views. He was saying what others were too afraid to say. He was calling out the quiet setup that no one else dared touch. In the days after Malcolm's passing, people waited for tributes. They waited for words from co-stars, directors, producers, the people who worked closely with him for years. But hardly anyone said anything. That silence was loud. It felt like the industry moved on overnight. No deep mourning, no collective grief. Just a quiet shrug from the same people who once praised his talent. And that's not normal. Someone like Malcolm Katt pointed out this exact pattern. He reminded everyone that this isn't the first time a respected black figure in entertainment suddenly disappeared from the spotlight. Not because of failure, but because they became inconvenient. Malcolm was a man of integrity. He wasn't about selling out. He wasn't part of the inner circles that keep secrets to stay successful. That's why he became a target, quietly, strategically, without public mess, but with private consequences. The way Katt explained it made people pause. Because when you start looking at Malcolm's career, you realize how often he was excluded from opportunities he clearly deserved, while others from his generation were constantly given new roles, media attention, and major projects. Malcolm was often left out. Not because of talent, he had that, but because he didn't fit the mold that certain people in Hollywood were pushing forward. That mold includes silence, compliance, playing the game. And when someone like Malcolm doesn't do that, they get pushed aside. Slowly but surely. Katt pointed out that this slow cancellation is often a warning. And if the person still refuses to cooperate, something worse happens. That's when setups happen. That's when stories get rewritten. And suddenly, someone who was once admired is forgotten or gone. People close to Malcolm noticed a shift in his last years. He was more guarded. He spoke less in public. He stayed out of industry events. Some thought he was just taking a break. But maybe he was being cautious. Maybe he knew something was coming. Katt suggested that Malcolm was aware of the pressure building behind the scenes, and he didn't want to give in. That alone made him dangerous to the system. Katt also reminded everyone that not all deaths are random. In Hollywood, people disappear without warning all the time. The industry is quick to label it as natural causes, depression, or privacy. But behind those labels are often long histories of manipulation, betrayal, and control. Malcolm didn't fit their narrative anymore, and when someone no longer fits the script, the system finds a way to erase them. It's also telling that mainstream media didn't dig deeper. They didn't ask hard questions. They didn't interview close friends or investigate timelines. They just reported the basics and moved on. That's not normal for a celebrity death, especially someone with Malcolm's legacy. Katt called this out too. He said the industry knows how to bury a story before people even have time to react. That's exactly what happened here. Fans felt that silence too. On social media, thousands of people asked the same thing. Why aren't more people talking about this? Why aren't the tributes pouring in? Why does it feel like Malcolm's name is being erased? These weren't just emotional fans. These were people who grew up watching him, learning from his characters, and respecting the man behind the screen. And suddenly, he was gone, with no proper goodbye. Katt's voice became a form of justice. He didn't try to solve the mystery. He didn't point fingers without cause. But he confirmed what people were already sensing, that this was not just a loss. It was a setup, a quiet one, a calculated one. It's a kind that only someone inside the industry could recognize, and that's what made his words so powerful. He didn't speak as a fan. He spoke as someone who's seen the machine from the inside. This moment has opened eyes. It's reminded people that fame doesn't always protect you. Sometimes it makes you more vulnerable, especially when you're not willing to play along. Malcolm Jamal Warner had dignity. He had discipline. He had values. And those are the exact things that made him dangerous in a world built on secrets and control. That's why Katt is standing firm in his message. The entertainment industry often acts like a family, but Katt exposed the truth. It's a business. And in that business, if you don't obey, you're either pushed out or erased. Malcolm wasn't someone who played politics. He didn't align with the gatekeepers. And in the end, he paid a price that feels far too high for someone so respected, so clean, and so consistent in his career. Now the question is, will others speak up? Will more people come forward to confirm what Katt already has? Or will this follow the same pattern? Short-lived outrage followed by silence? That's up to the people watching. It's up to the fans, the followers, and those who still believe in truth. Because Malcolm's story deserves more than a headline. It deserves justice. It deserves a real conversation. Katt Williams may not have all the answers, but he's given people a reason to start looking. He's challenged the silence. He's reminded the public that setups don't always look like setups. Sometimes they look like forgotten deaths. And in Malcolm's case, the silence surrounding his passing might be the loudest confirmation of all. As the days go on, one thing remains clear. We can't ignore the patterns anymore. Malcolm Jamal Warner's legacy wasn't just on screen. It was in how he carried himself, how he refused to sell out, and how he stayed real in a world that rewards fakery. That's the version of him that the industry didn't want to keep around, but it's the version we should never forget.